Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my October update of my eyeshadow project pan. I will say I did not give a September update, so this is like a combo October and September. And I've talked about this throughout the year, and I think you'll see with today's update and just like where my numbers are at that I'm just like not wearing eyeshadow like I used to be, and that's okay. I've just kind of like not loved it as much. I will say like I still have been, and like I still have been working through this project, so it's not like I haven't been wearing eyeshadow at all. It's just my numbers aren't reflective of what they have been in years past. I think on my last video in August, a lot of you were saying like, hey, like feel free to end this project early or take a look at how you want to do this next year. And I think I'm going to close out the year and like do the rest of my updates for this project. I definitely want to do that. I think I could still hit another pan here, so I want to continue working towards that. But I do think I'm going to take a look at like my larger panning content next year and think about how I potentially want to do something a little bit different when it comes to eyeshadows. I will say like how I feel about makeup does change. Like I think I used to really be into really colorful eyeshadow, and obviously that's changed, but I think it could definitely come back around. And so I'm still very happy with like my collection of palettes, and maybe this project will be seen again in future years. But for right now, I think I'm gonna close it out for this year, meaning I'm gonna do the next few updates and finish this project. I don't wanna just stop in the middle of it. I definitely want to finish this project, but I think then after that, I'm gonna think about how maybe I would represent eyeshadow as appropriate in maybe some of my other projects. For example, like my Shop My Stash project pan or my Rolling 5 pan project pan versus doing its own individual project. Maybe in 2027, I'll be really in eyeshadow again and I'll wanna have it as its own project again. So I'm never gonna like close the door on something because I just don't know how my tastes are going to change. And I did wanna address why September was missed and kind of how I'm feeling about this in general. And I appreciate all of your input in my last video and kind of where we stand today. So in terms of numbers, I still have 238 eyeshadows. 12 of those are singles, 226 of those are across 13 different palettes. My pan percentage is still at 16.38%, which is 39 pans in my collection. So like I'm still really proud of those numbers. Most of those pans have been achieved through this project over the years. And so I don't want to like not represent this project as something that I've thoroughly loved. It's actually been probably my favorite panning project for a really long time. And so I struggle a little bit with my decision, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, like I know that I'm just not pulling eyeshadows in to wear like I used to be. And I think instead of kind of dragging this on and not making it the best that it can be, I just think I need to reimagine it for 2026 and then make decisions from there. So like I said, we're gonna close this year out. I'm gonna give you the October update. You'll see an update in November and December, and then you'll see a finale at the end of the year. I'm hopeful that I can hit another pan before then, and I think that would be a great way to kind of close it out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the update, and you can see where we've been with eyeshadows the last little bit. I'm gonna start with my Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I actually have 3 eyeshadows that are represented in this project from this palette, and I'm gonna start with the one that I've used the most, which is this one right here called Comfort Zone. I used this one 11 times, and I've mostly been wearing it all over my lid and then smudged up into my crease. It's such a pretty shade like that. That's how I'm wearing it today. And I feel like this is the one, if I'm gonna hit pan, that I'm gonna hit pan on. There is a little bit of a dip going there, and I think if I focus on it for the next couple months or so, that I could hit pan on it. And so I'm excited about that. That is my goal for this project, is to hit pan on that particular eyeshadow. So hopefully we can do it. I also used my man right here 5 different times, not as an eyeshadow, as a blush. I'm wearing it today as a blush. It is crazy how pigmented this shadow is and how very, very little you need of it for a blush. Honestly, like if I were to use this palette, as blushes instead of eyeshadows, I think I'd have blush to last me a lifetime because of how pigmented these eyeshadows are. So that's just something to keep in mind, and I have no expectation of hitting pan on that, especially since I've started using it as a blush because I'm not focusing in any one area. My brush is going in the whole eyeshadow. But I am happy that I'm continuing to get usage on it. I could definitely roll it out at this point. I've hit my like 20 uses threshold, but I'd prefer to just keep it in and continue to use it as it is. And then the last one from this palette is this shade right here called Talia, which I've used 4 times and always as an inner corner highlight. I just picked this up on a brush. I think I've mentioned this in other videos that would be a lot more pigmented and opaque if I used it wet, but I've only used it dry so far. I think if I had an occasion where I was really getting like dressed up, I would wear this wet on my lids. I think it would be a really pretty glitter. With a 4 and a 2-year-old now, I'm not getting dressed up. I'm not doing anything fancy. Like, my life is just not fancy right now. And of course, like, we have the occasional wedding or something like that, but I have not had one as of late, and this shadow has not been used, like I said, for anything other than inner corner, but there's definitely some progress on the shadow. Even using it like that, like I can see in the viewfinder right now, it does look like there's been a bit of a dip there, so I am happy. My next eyeshadow comes from the Empowered Huda Beauty palette, and it is this shade right here called Legacy. There continues to be this little dip that's going there. I'm wearing it today as a liner, and that's how I've worn it for the 4 times that I have worn it. It's just been as a liner. I really do enjoy it as a liner. I think it's very pretty as a liner. I really do like the shade of this. I don't think I could wear it as much else than that other than a liner or maybe in my outer crease, just because it is quite pigmented and on the darker side, and I'm not really going for like the smoky eye look like I used to. So that is kind of like the best way to be able to use this. I am happy with the 4 uses on that because I've been trying to split between that shade and the shade that I have in my Il Makiage Kathleen Lights Disco Fox palette. And that's this one right here called Ladies Night. It is a shade that I use in my outer corner or as a liner. So it's like perfect for that, but otherwise like I wouldn't be putting this all over my lid. So I've been kind of juggling between the 2 of these shades and using them as a liner. This one, the one from Huda Beauty, is more warm tone, and this one's more cool tone. So I only use this one 2 times, and that's just because I'm not always looking to wear a liner or put something in my outer corner. And so it's hard when I have 2 shades that are kind of fit for that purpose, and that's just not always the thing that I'm looking to do to be able to get like any real usage on them. But I am happy with 4 and 2 uses because, like I said, it's just not been exactly what I've been going for the last little bit. And so at the end of the day, that is my update. It's not a super exciting one, honestly, in this project. I'm sorry if this project is like boring for you all, but I'm hoping to spice it up a little bit by getting an empty on Comfort Zone. Depending on when we get that empty, maybe we'll be able to roll something new in, which is honestly super fun. And even if I only get to use that color for a little bit, it's just something new and different to add to this project. So that is going to be my focus for the next little bit, is just working away on that one as I have been and just figuring out maybe different ways to use it a little bit more. I know many of you have offered suggestions about using some of the other shades for other ways, like I'm using the one as a blush, and then some of you have suggested using some of the darker shades in my eyebrows. I've not attempted that one yet, but maybe it is something that I will try. I don't know, I don't really do anything in my eyebrows. I just pretty much put gel in them and call it a day, but might be worth just like attempting. That is my update in my eyeshadow project pan. Like I said, have such a special place in my heart for this project because I have loved it so much over the years, but I think it's time to just think about how, like I said, how I want to reimagine this or refresh it for next year. But we're gonna do our best to get it empty before the end of this year and really close this project out strong. So definitely stick around to see if I can do it. And thank you so much always for your support. I've mentioned this in my last few videos, and I'm sure you've seen, if you regularly check my channel, that I've been posting a bunch of short content. If you are interested in any of those videos, please go ahead and watch them. I really appreciate your support there. I have just been trying to expand kind of some of the things that I post about. My long form content is still very much focused on panning, as it always has been, but I also kind of like to dabble in other stuff, so I've been trying to push that out in shorts content. So if you're just not interested, you don't have to watch it, but I would love for you, if you like who I am as a person, to check those videos out, because it kind of gives you more of me in a different light. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe, and I'm thinking about you and I appreciate you, and I will talk to you in my next video.